Saturday evening, the restaurant he had chosen was one we had been to before. Our first anniversary 2 years earlier. I had noticed when he made the reservation that it was the same place, but I had not said anything because I thought it was romantic that he remembered. He got down on one knee between the main course and dessert. The ring was beautiful. I said yes before he finished the sentence. I called my mother from the car on the way home. I cried twice. Once telling her, once just sitting in the passenger seat looking at my hand in the dark. It was the happiest evening of my life. 3 days later, I knocked over his gym bag. I was at his apartment. He was at work. I had brought food, his favorite, from the place near my office because we were celebrating, and I wanted to do something small and ordinary to mark the beginning of something extraordinary. I knocked the bag, reaching for the counter, everything spilled, water bottle, headphones, a jacket, keys, a wallet he kept for the gym, receipts, a protein bar, and a ring box. I picked it up, a different ring, smaller box, different style. I opened it. A note inside, a name, not mine. I stood in his kitchen for approximately 3 minutes without moving. Then I put everything back exactly as it had fallen, exactly as it had been. I picked up the food I had brought. I left it on the counter. I drove home. And I spent the next 2 weeks preparing something he never saw coming. Stay with me, every word of this is real. His name was Marcus. We had been together for 2 years and 3 months when he proposed. Good years, for the most part. The kind of relationship that had grown from exciting to comfortable in a way that felt like progress. Like the foundation of something real, rather than the fading of something temporary. He was attentive, remembered things, showed up when it mattered. There had been a period, about 8 months before the proposal, when something had felt slightly off, a distance I couldn't name. Evenings he was unreachable, a quality to his phone use that was slightly more private than it had been before. I had noticed, I had not pushed, I had attributed it to work stress. He had been in the middle of a difficult project, and over the following weeks the distance had closed again and I had filed it under. A hard season that passed. I understand now what that season was. The name in the ring box was a woman named Andrea. I found this out not by confronting Marcus, but by doing what I do when I need to understand something. I researched. I spent the first 3 days after finding the ring box doing 2 things simultaneously. The first was behaving completely normally. I called Marcus that evening, told him the food was on the counter, said I had to leave before he got home, talked to him for 20 minutes about nothing important. The second was researching. The name Andrea, combined with what I knew about Marcus's life, his work, his neighborhood, took me approximately 4 hours to connect to a specific person. She existed. She was real. She worked in a building 2 blocks from his office. I did not contact her. What I did instead was pull a thread. Marcus and I had a joint email account, one of those things couples create for shared subscriptions and travel bookings. I had not looked at it in months. I looked at it now. There were emails, not many, but enough. Dates that corresponded to the period when things had felt slightly off, and dates that were more recent, much more recent. The proposal had happened on Saturday. The most recent email in that account was from the previous Thursday, 2 days before he got down on one knee. I sat with that information for a long time, then I started making a list. The list had 9 items. Item 1, screenshot everything in the joint email account. Back it up externally, do it tonight. Item 2, the engagement announcement I had already posted on social media. Leave it up. Removing it signals that something changed. I was not ready for anything to signal that yet. Item 3, the venue deposit. Marcus and I had talked in those 3 days about starting to look at venues. He had mentioned a budget. I had a number in my head. I was going to let him make that deposit before anything else happened. Item 4, his family. They had called to congratulate us. His mother, his sister. I had spoken to both warmly. I was going to keep speaking to them warmly, because they were going to be important in a way Marcus hadn't anticipated. Item 5, Andrea, not to confront her. Not to make her an enemy, to give her information she deserved to have. The rest of the list I will keep private. What I will say is that by the end of 2 weeks, every item was addressed. I contacted Andrea on day 11, not in person, an email from a new account, my name, a brief explanation, a photograph of the note in the ring box that I had taken before putting everything back. I told her I was not angry with her, that I believed she didn't know about me any more than I had known about her, that I was contacting her because she deserved to make her own decisions with complete information. She replied within 2 hours. Her reply was 3 sentences. She said she had not known. She said she was sorry. She said, "What are you going to do?" I said, I already did it. That was true. On day 10, I had sent Marcus a message. It said, "I found the ring box in your gym bag. I found the emails. I know about Andrea. I've known for 10 days. In those 10 days, I've spoken to your mother, your sister, 3 of our mutual friends, and Andrea herself. Everyone now has the same information I have. I'm not angry. I'm not going to make a scene. I returned my ring to your kitchen counter this morning. The same counter where I left your food 10 days ago. Don't contact me. There's nothing left to say." He called 11 times that day. I had already created the filter. Marcus lost 2 things simultaneously that he had apparently been managing in parallel for the better part of a year. Both relationships ended the same week. Andrea ended things with him the day after I contacted her. His family, his mother especially, Ida, did not take the information well. I had spoken to her on day 8, not to turn her against him, to answer her questions honestly when she asked if I was okay. She had asked because I had called her on day 8 to thank her for her congratulations call the previous week and to tell her gently that things were not going to work out. She pushed for details. I gave them to her, calmly, without drama, just the facts. His sister sent me a message 2 weeks later that said simply, "I'm so sorry, you deserved better." I wrote back, "Thank you, so did you." Marcus sent one email 3 weeks later, a long one. Explanations, apologies, a version of events designed to reframe what he had done as something smaller than what it was. I read it. I did not respond. Some stories don't need a final chapter from the person who caused them. The gym bag was an accident. I want to say that clearly because people sometimes ask if I was looking for something. I was not looking for anything. I was bringing food to a man I had just agreed to marry. The accident gave me information I had not been seeking but needed to have. What I did with that information was not revenge. It was clarity. 10 days of quiet, methodical clarity. I told the people who needed to know. I gave Andrea the truth she deserved. I let Marcus's own choices arrive at their natural conclusion without my interference. The most powerful thing I did in those 2 weeks was not confront him, was not make a scene, was not perform my devastation for an audience. It was put the ring box back exactly as it had fallen, drive home, and spend 10 days making sure that when the truth arrived, and it was always going to arrive, it arrived on my terms. The ring he gave me is on his kitchen counter. The ring he bought for Andrea is wherever it is. And I am somewhere else entirely, building something real, with someone who doesn't keep ring boxes in their gym bag. New story every day. Subscribe so you never miss one. Just wait.